We all know and love the minor pentatonic scale, but there is another mega cool alternative, and it's not the major pentatonic scale. Want to find out all about it? Hang out to find out. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to play across a slow blues in G using the minor pentatonic, and then over the same track I'm going to play across it using this secret scale, so we can see the differences and we can talk about them. Yeah, you soloed with the minor pentatonic an awful lot, but you also used a few other ideas, didn't you? Yeah, well, but I don't know whether you knew about this secret scale, so maybe if you watch, maybe you can learn something as well. So let's start by analysing the minor pentatonic version. Oh yeah, thanks Big Jim. Don't forget to check out the Patreon page, because over there I go through this in more detail. I break down the little solos at the start, and I also talk about how to apply this secret scale all over the neck using my unique cross system, which is all explained on there. So just click the link below in the description. So the minor pentatonic solo, I'm just thinking of G minor pentatonic, mostly position 1, over the whole thing, maybe sneaking into position 2, which was Albert King's favourite. But I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm just trying to outline a melody. And trying to play around that melody and develop the melody, develop the motif throughout the little mini solo. I'm also sitting on that minor third, lots of vibrato, just trying to make it sort of smooth and styly, right? So let's move on to the juicy part, which is this secret scale. Now this secret scale exists because it works around the dominant 7th chord. The problem is with the major pentatonic is based on the intervals 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Well, in a dominant 7th chord, we've got a flat 7, and there isn't a flat 7 in the major pentatonic scale, there's a 6. Now, the 6 sounds really cool, but it's not as strong as the flat 7. So what we're going to do to create this super scale is we're going to get rid of that 6, and we're going to put a flat 7 in. So we get 1, 2, 3, 5, flat 7. And this basically creates a scale built around the dominant 7th chord, but just adding the 2 on. In fact, it sort of creates a dominant 9 chord. So let's talk about how to play it. Now, we're not going to talk about playing it all over the neck. We want to learn it really well in one area. Because let's face it, I bet if I ask most of you to play a solo in G, you're going to be around here. Well, let's learn it round here really well before we start venturing elsewhere. And we're going to sit it around the chord. So we're going to see this chord, and within this chord we're going to see this triad, which is just root, 3, 5, right? And we're going to base it round there. We're going to add on the extra intervals just based on that structure. Now if that's the root, that's the flat 7. So now I've got flat 7, root, 3, 5. Now I want to go up to the next flat 7, which is there. Then I'm going to go flat 7, root, 3, 5. Where's the next flat 7? It's there. And I've got root there. So now my little mini scale goes. And you'll see it kind of looks a little bit minor pentatonic-y there, with a kind of major chord on there. And that's pretty cool on its own, but let's make it even cooler. Let's keep going. Root, 2, 3. So now we've got. Alright, now this is getting pretty hip. Now let's add another layer of coolness to it, because we're going to go from the minor third to the major third by doing this. Yeah. Next layer of coolness. Minor third there. So now we've got this. Right? So we've got a dominant pentatonic scale, and all I've done is I've added the flat third into it. Yeah? And I'm using the flat third to get into the major third. And then you just want to explore it a little bit. All that's using those ideas I've just said. Then I added something else in. I added this in. This note, the 6, okay? Now that is coming from the major pentatonic. So I'm kind of mixing together the major pentatonic and the dominant pentatonic. And it sounds really cool when I slide into that flat 7. A bit like the minor third going into the major third. I kind of see it like that a little bit. Yeah? So we're just adding, it's like making a curry and just putting in lots of little bits of spices. You like curry, do you? I don't know, what sort of curry do you like? Yeah, I don't mind a good Balti myself. So all that is using dominant pentatonic language. It's sitting around that dominant pentatonic structure, adding in those little extra cool bits like the minor third to the major third, the 6 to the flat 7. It all just sounds so good, yeah? And you just want to just play it an absolute ton. Now when you get to the C chord, I'm seeing this chord here, I'm seeing the C chord. Yeah, I know, you used to play out of chords an awful lot, didn't you? I mean, that was just kind of your thing, yeah? Playing out of chords. And I'm kind of doing that as well, Big Jim. So Big Jim's saying, see this chord, I totally agree with him. And I'm basing my solo lines on the dominant pentatonic, but firstly I'm seeing the chord. So let's just try and eke out that minor third to major third. Let's find the root. Flat 7. Yeah, 5. Flat 7. And I might come up with lines like this. And that's all based around this dominant pentatonic scale. Why? Flat 7, root, minor third to third, 5 to flat 7, back again, root, 2, root. Yeah? You just kind of follow this formula and you'll just create some really cool lines around it. So you can see that all this language that I'm coming up with is built around 1, the chord, and then 2, trying to find those little roots out of the chord into notes that are in the dominant pentatonic scale. And that's why it just sounds so cool, because I'm just accessing the chord all the time and adding a little bit of flavor to the chord with either the 9, which is in the dominant pentatonic scale, or sometimes adding the 6 in as well, which is really cool, and that minor third to major third. So you've got to cook that curry, put in the flavors that you like. Don't put too many spices in, or it can get like mega spicy. Yeah, I've had that too, Big Jim. It ruins your hairdo, doesn't it, completely? Yeah, I know the feeling, dude. Totally know the feeling. So play around with that. Some really cool ideas to be had with that dominant pentatonic scale. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. Catch you next time.